gonna turn it into. Listen, y'all know I'm about to have some fun. Put an emoji in the chat if you know how much fun I'm about to have. And y'all know, if you know, you know. Because at this point, it's just like, it's a couple of you. A whole lot of y'all ain't even talking. Hold on. I need my bush watchers. I need y'all to go ahead and pop out. I need to know y'all are here tonight. Y'all already know my head's going do-do. Come on, man. I love life too much. I love life too much. I might go dancing in the rain. I might do that. That might be fun. You know. What's up, Crazy and Wicked? Look, guys, I explained to y'all, for those who gave a shit enough to listen, you know what I'm saying, that not that this gives any excuse for my actions, because it doesn't, but when I got out the hospital, when I was in the hospital, they put me on a medication called Kepprin, okay? They put me on the medication of Kepprin, not taking into consideration the other medications I was on. Don't know why. It is what it is. It was definitely not purposeful, but it happened, okay? So if everybody looks back to when things really got crazy for me, where it looked like I was just melting the fuck down, you can't park there. It was right after I got out the hospital, okay? But I want y'all to think back a little bit further to the video I made, or the live I did in the hospital bed. Any of y'all remember the live that I did in the hospital bed? Like in the hospital room? I was just happened to be laying in the bed, obviously. If you remember that, put an emoji in the chat. Okay. Let me ask you this. If you were in the chat the night that I walked out suddenly in the middle of the live, and you listened and saw and heard everything that necessarily wasn't in front of the camera but was occurring, put a 1 in the chat. I'm trying to make a point, right? We'll get there. I need y'all to come out the bushes and start participating with me a little bit. If you were in that live, put a 1. Some of y'all may not have been. It's super late. Okay, some of y'all were, some of y'all missed it. A whole lot of y'all have no idea what I'm talking about, because y'all don't even know who I am. Y'all are just in here because of, other stuff, which is cool. I'm glad you're here. Welcome in. Missed it due to work. Okay, so at least there's a few of y'all in here, right? All right. So that night and how everything went down, and my subs, my followers, whatever you want to call them, y'all know what had been leading up to that. Put a 1 in the chat if it surprised you I ended up in the hospital with the situations that I did. Put a 2 if it didn't surprise you at all. We'll get back to the Mandy's like 2. Listen, I got about 10 of y'all chatting and 90 of y'all in here. We're going to have to do something about that. Or any of my rooster squads in the bush is just going to pop on out. Or y'all just in here just trying to see what's going on. The hiccups were and that's what's so funny. People are like, hiccups, oh my God. Yeah, I want y'all to experience hiccups for, what was it, like 30 hours straight, 28 hours straight. Oh my God. The hiccups is what was the final straw. That was what was warning me, here's what's coming. I saw you under some weird stress. Yeah. Well, it wasn't the heartburn as much as it was the hiccups. The hiccups was the final of all things that was trying to warn me about what was going to happen. It was like 30 hours of hiccups. And then I figured out at one point that if I could and this is going to sound gross, but if I could make myself throw up, even just a little bit, that the hiccups would stop. And I would get a break from like that constant chest jumping. And it wasn't the hiccups up here. Y'all saw it. That shit was coming from like here. So I just thought I had real bad hiccups. Now, that was what the final warning was that I was being given. I had not a fucking clue in the world that was a warning. You couldn't have told me to believe that shit. You know what I mean? But true enough. But anyway, if you remember that live, I went back and watched it because I wanted to know kind of what I said. I didn't really remember. There was a lot of medication, a lot of things going on around me. I had just been transported from one hospital to I think level 1 hospital because of the state I was in overnight. And, ultimately, once they got some things under control, it was able kind of be able to stabilize me. They started adding in all of these drugs, right? All this different medication. And, I'm stubborn as fuck. Y'all know that. And like I said, some of the medication I have to take through injections in my stomach. I think I'm done with those now. I hope I am. And then there was a handful. It ended up being a total of 9 new medications from the hospital stay. Well, one of the medications that I take as a substitute for Adderall, because it being a amphetamine and the fact that my addiction was amphetamine based, I choose not to take it. So I go with Vyvanse. Well, Vyvanse alone has its own issues, whatever, okay? When you put them two motherfuckers together, and I guess the doctors didn't take this into consideration, it is a really bad fucking mix. But on top of that, there is a real thing called, I just keep saying the name and I forget it. Kepprin Rage. Have any of y'all looked that up since I told y'all about it? It's not the greatest, Mandy. That's why I don't sleep very well. Have any of y'all looked up what I was talking to y'all about? Oh, there was no choice, Queen Widow. There was no choice to start me on slow meds. I was in bad shape. But here's the problem. So, Keppra is a very aggressive anti-seizure medication. And what Keppra does is, so for me, I was having right-sided focal something seizures. I can't remember the other word. So if y'all remember, I have always thought my right hand, where I start shaking and shit, y'all know what I'm talking about, that was just a tick. One of my little coping mechanisms uh, for the autism. I just thought it was a new coping a new coping mechanism that had just come about in the last year or two. Well, in fact, that's not the case. What's been happening is I've been having right-sided focal seizures. Um, and so, and Odin Girl just put it in the chat if y'all want to read it. But, so, and then once again, this does not excuse what I said. This does not excuse the effect that it had on the community. I'm simply telling y'all what went down, okay? So, I started taking the Keppra, or I think that's how you say it, Keppra or Keppra, however you say it, the Keppra, and I asked the doctor, as I always do, because I'm super, super, super careful about what I take, once again, because of my sobriety. So every bit of medication had to be explained to me. Also has to do with my mind having to be able to justify the medication through answers to my questions. And if I can't have those answers, then I can't take that medicine. I hope that makes sense. That's just how my brain works, right? So when they got to the Keppra, I knew nothing about it. And I wasn't in a position at that time to Google anything. And I looked at the wife and I said, "What do you know about Keppra?" And she said, "Well, I'm going to be honest, it would be a no for me." That was her suggestion, was no. And so the doctor says, "Well, there was this medicine and that medicine," and he was ruling them out for different reasons. But the main reason was because of my blood pressure, right? And my blood pressure was so fucking high that I wasn't qualifying to be able to take another anti-seizure medicine. I don't know if all of that I'm saying correctly, because I wasn't really all there during that time. Now, mind you, when I got into the hospital, my blood pressure was 198 over 122, I believe. It was fucking incredibly high, with a heart rate of 104, 106. It was high. All right. So, back to the Keppra. So I didn't know anything about it, right? And I had been dealing with this high blood pressure for about 3 or 4 months. Wouldn't y'all say, chat? Where no matter what I did, Odin Girl's continuing to explain it in the chat if y'all want to read it. No matter what I did, guys, I've lost a total. So I weighed in. I had a doctor's appointment as well where I'm at this morning, or where I was at this morning, which is my main primary care physician. And went there, had all my blood tests done again, and also discussed what happened with the hospital and all that. So as he's looking through it, he goes, "How's the Keppra working out for you?" And of course, I told him everything, and I told him I quit cold turkey. And here's why I did it. So once I was into about day 4 out of the hospital, which would have been day 8 of being on the Keppra, let me go back a little bit. So they put me on high doses of Keppra in the hospital through the IV, right? So that was a shock to my system anyway. Guys, I can't see the chat, so I'm just letting y'all know when I'll turn the chat back on. So they were giving me the Keppra through an IV. Then that happened on day 1, 2, and 3, I think. And it was pretty high dosages. Finally, they were able on day 3, between the Keppra, the blood thinners, which was 1,500 milligrams each shot in my stomach, I believe they were doing one on each side. They were doing 2 shots. So it was either 750, 750, or 1515. I don't know. They were doing that twice a day, all the way through the time that I was in the hospital. And then there's been some since then, right? So doing that, and then they added on all these other blood thinners and cholesterol. My cholesterol was through the fucking roof, like way through the roof. So when I got home, I got my prescriptions filled immediately. But this was by day 4, maybe day 5. Give me a little grace on the days. I don't really remember. But I started feeling this just real out of guys, I don't know how the fuck to explain it to you. Not me, right? Couldn't do anything about it. Talked to the wife about it. She went and talked to different staff where she works trying to figure it out. And it kept coming back to the same thing, which is the Keppra rage. But because I always stop the medication, and y'all know this, my main followers know this, I have a tendency to stop taking blood thinners, cholesterol medicine, any of that, because it makes me feel so much different. So I was like, no, I'm not going to stop taking it because I always do that. I told you I would follow through with it. Does that make no? Because I had told her that I would follow through. Same way I stayed in the hospital for 4 days. Y'all know better than that. Y'all know I would have already signed myself out AMA on day 1. But I had told her when I was laying in the hospital, right after I'd got rolled in, I looked at her. She said, "You're going to AMA, aren't you?" And I looked her dead in her face, and I'm like, "No, I don't know what's going on. I'm here, whatever they need me to do." Okay, so I get home, feeling really fucked up in the head, like having a hard time with memory, but not really with memory. It was more like short-term memory. Almost like ADD on the extreme. But then it started getting, there's a level of paranoid, I guess you could add to it. But it was like everything that was happening was so loud. And I'm trying to explain this the best way I can. There was zero impulse control with my mouth. Zero. And I it's not an excuse. I stand 100% on what I said. I'm just sorry that I said it. I'm sorry that I said it out loud. And not that it makes it any better, but and that's some shit that in my mind, as someone who survived and became a warrior of childhood molestation, those things to me stood out so loudly. In fact, they may have absolutely nothing to do with the case. They may in fact have nothing to do whatsoever. But because I heard them the way that I heard them, it has bothered me extensively. And those who are in my inner circle, they know who they are, know how bad it has bothered me extensively. I never stopped to think, and this is my fault again, I never stopped to think about that perspective. I guess I looked at Sebastian's case through my eyes because of the similarities and crazy shit that happened in our lives. His was 15. I did what I did when I was 13, but it was well into 14 that I actually, anyway, around the same give or take age. My parents that adopted me were very religious. It seemed to me like he had some real heavy religion-ish from one direction. There was just a lot of similarities. And looking back on the case, I think my biggest issue is I was trying to see through Sebastian's eyes, but also using my own experiences as that guide, right? Once again, I don't know if I can say that's a bad thing, but what I can say is it definitely caused me to feel a certain way about certain things when they may not be as big as maybe they would be to as they would be to me, to other people. I am hyper vigilant of things that look suspicious because nobody ever saw and took action to protect me. And so I think that there's some crazy want to make sure that voice is out there. And I think a lot of times it doesn't come across to the public the way that I wish it did. And once again, nobody else's fault but my own. It just is what it is. I never came on this shit to be politically correct. And really, at the end of the day, it's like this. I think there's some misunderstanding about some things. See, I'm not a good guy. I've said this for the longest time. Some people are expecting a type of person out of me that I just simply am not. If you're going to judge a book by its cover, which I highly suggest you not do, but so many people do, looking at me, you don't just look and say, oh yeah, that's the pick of society. Right? Doesn't matter what it is. The one thing that I've learned is that through this process, and I mean the last 2 weeks, then I'm going to get back to what I was saying, but I think this is important. The one thing that I've learned is that what may be something that's heavy on me because of the way I hear it or the perspective I see it in is perspective. And what I might see as a warning sign might just be people joking, and I'm not saying any of that was someone joking. I'm not implying that. But what I'm saying is I take things literal. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these folks that are talking about me or not talking about me, who are speaking on the situation, they don't realize that I take everything literally. It's kind of just how my brain works, right? And that's kind of crazy to say because I'm a big smart ass. I have dry humor, so it's kind of like a two-faced thing. I can understand how it would be taken that way. I wish it wasn't that way. I wish I could think like neurotypical people, because I think then maybe I could, I don't know. But intention is everything, in my opinion. And my intention was not to harm. My intention wasn't to exactly say that shit out loud either. And you got to remember, what nobody's talking about is I have said at least 80 times over the last 2.5 years. Some of y'all know, y'all better not ever say it. You know, y'all know what I'm talking about. And it's because I truly believed that little bits of information like that could actually be part of, the case, or, it might actually be part of the investigation, and they were leading with something. And here, and what it comes down to is this was my first true crime case I'd ever done. I didn't know anything about doing true crime cases. And at the end of the day, I've said this before, I don't know who did what. I can have my personal opinions. I have two. Real simple. And they're not personal, like towards anybody. It is what it is. You know, I want Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers to be found and be found safe. There's nothing more than I would love to do than to come on here and say, hey, y'all, any of those crazy theories, I give hours of apologies, right? I would do it, hours of them. Individual people with joy. That's what we can hope for. Any more than that, the personal conversations that were had, the things that I said on those lives, I don't step down from them. But here's what I need to get back to. So I took him for another 5-6 days, and I finally looked at the wife and I was like, I feel like I'm fucking losing it. This was day 3 or 4 into my rant, so to speak. And I couldn't get offline because I was so hyper fixated on getting my point across. And then I was getting more and more frustrated that I couldn't get my point across because from my perspective, it was just fucking horrible. And I couldn't understand why so many people were upset with me at that moment. In retrospect, I can see why people would be rather upset. I mean, I'm sure that had it been another creator and I was just sitting in a chat and I heard that, yeah, that would probably be offsetting to say the least. You know? And I've apologized for it. I'll do it again because it's necessary. And that apology's real. But I can't change nothing. There's nothing I can go back and do about it. So I have no plans to go after Chris and Katie or Seth. And the people who have been around me long enough know that I've always said Chris, Katie, and Seth are my prime suspects. Not a secret. Y'all have also heard me say for at least 95% of the time that I don't think Chris Proudfoot is involved in Sebastian's disappearance at all. I've said that plain and simple. So, whatever conversations were had or weren't had, I do not recall. But what I can tell you is that I made the decision to take myself off of it. It has been a rough, I think we're on day 8 now, somewhere around day 8. It should be completely cleared out of my system literally by tomorrow. Then you can have after effects. I don't care about the after effects. I can tell you that I'm much more myself again. I don't know if y'all can notice that by the guest panel that I went on, which, by the way, I don't want a single motherfucking one of y'all, this is Rooster Squad, to say a negative word when I'm about to say. I mean it. I'm asking y'all to do what we do. Don't join what's being done. What was the channel earlier that the panel I was on? Can one of the moderators please get a link and drop it in the chat? I'm not bullshitting. Can someone get a link and drop it in the chat? And then pin it to the top of the chat, please. I get it, Purple Rain. I get it. No, that was one of the individuals' page. This ain't for no bad shit. This ain't for no. Because I'm not even on that. I'm not even on that. This is how I would rather do it. So Let me get a link real quick into the chat, and then we'll continue. Now I definitely got to roll the window down. UTS on YouTube. Now I need a link, y'all, please. And I don't want the YouTube link. I want the Kick link. New Age plug on Kick. Can someone get the actual link, please? What's up, everybody coming in? Guys, I'm not talking on any of that. I'm talking on what I'm going to. Please don't ask questions about none of that. Y'all know better. As far as like, that's not even, come on, y'all. All right, so it's linked. Will you put up at the top? I can't, guys, I can't do any of it on mobile. Can you pin it at the top, please? Odin Girl, thank you for grabbing that. Listen, Rooster Squad, there's 131 of y'all in here. I want each and every one of y'all to click that link right there for me. Follow that channel. I'd also like for y'all to subscribe to that channel. No bullshit. I asked y'all to do it in the chat, and y'all thought I was joking. That's not how the Rooster Squad works. Y'all know that. Y'all know that. We're going to show who we are without joining what everything has to be. I don't think that dude's a bad dude. I actually think that dude's probably got some pretty good sense to him. I also think he's hot-headed like I am. Okay? So whenever you go over there and hit follow, come back and say followed. If you hit sub, come back and say sub. Y'all do that for me real quick. It's important. There's 135 of y'all in here. Either say followed or subbed. I'd love for y'all to sub up. For real. This is not me being funny. This is me being dead-app serious. It's okay if you can't sub right now, Smoky Mountain. It's all right. I hope I see at least 2 or 3 subs. Mandy BS said I already followed. I know there's some more of y'all that can go over there and hit it. Not you subbed on YouTube. Nah, Mandy. Drop your sub on YouTube. Give them the sub over on Kick. They make more money. Give it to them over on Kick. They make way more money off the Kick gifted or subs. All right. Everybody's following? Yeah, no, that's why I said do it over here on Kick. Let them boys make that. Listen, I'm not even mad about it. I'm about to explain it. All right, do y'all think that at least 30 of y'all can I get like a count? Someone let me know how many people went and followed at the very least. Like I said, 137 of y'all in here. They should at least be able to get 40 new followers. Maybe even 2 or 3 new subs. All right. Now, do we have the link for YouTube Streets? So we got New Age plug going through. Do we have a link for the YouTube Streets on Kick? I don't want any YouTube links in the chat. Just Kick. Thank you, Odin Girl. Is Odin Girl my only moderator in here right now? I gotta have another moderator in here. It is really early or late, depending on how you look at it. Okay, y'all, Odin Girl is kicking ass tonight. Salute. Can we get a mods emoji in the chat for Odin Girl? Well, I mean, it is a late hour, y'all. All right, while she's getting that, listen, y'all. What's the guy's name? I forget his name. Somebody tell me his name. Mandy, you might end up having to be a mod since you can't take number 2, though, because y'all have some mud wrestling fights over that one. No, it wasn't P&O. It was Pug. Wait a second, I don't mean to be rude. Does that say plug or pug? I'm not even fucked up. P-L-U-G. Yeah, my eyes are bad as fuck. All right, plug. All right, listen. Was it, whose page was it? Plug? That wasn't even a diss, I swear to you. I couldn't see. If I was trying to diss, I'd just diss. I wouldn't have to slide diss. It was Plug. Okay. So, here's the thing. I think the dude's funny. Like I said, I think he's hot-headed. I think he's opinionated. And I'm not fucked up with any of that. I also think that people are writing this narrative, and I'm not fucked up with that either, right? If I had Blue Eyes and DVS, if y'all can get those links, put them in the chat. I'm not fucked up with it. Here's why I want y'all to follow him. Because I think that if y'all are respectful when y'all talk to him, then y'all might be able to do something, whatever that is. But if you're just going to sit in there and argue with him, although I know y'all want to, because y'all, ladies, I know y'all love to get in there and get to sparring, and I appreciate it, but I don't think these guys that's not going to faze them. You feel what I'm saying? They're not tripping off what you think about them, and that's like me. I'm not tripping what you think about me, right? So thank y'all for subscribing. I see y'all putting it down there. I think that they're actually going to be really fucking good if they come into the community. But in my personal opinion, not that any of them give a fuck, but I think if they slowed down just a little bit and took a look around, they might find, and I'm not saying they gotta like me, I'm not saying they gotta work with me, I ain't saying none of that shit. What I'm saying is, I think they could do a lot of good because they're like the attitude I have of I don't give a fuck. That's what the genre hates. They hate men that will stand up. Look how they've already started attacking those dudes, and they're coming at me, which is cool. That's why I said I'd love to have a phone call. We're not talking about no dope deals. We ain't talking about no stupid shit. We're talking about some social media shit. But, you know, just because someone's curious about something doesn't give them the right to like pressure for an answer either. And if they don't get what they want, then somehow, it just don't make sense like that. I'm much better worked with respect. That's all. What's up, Candy B? I ain't fucked up with it. I want y'all to go support them. They may be talking about me today, the next week, whatever, but they're going to be talking about something else that's important at some point too. I don't expect them to get up off my nuts. I mean, if they think there's something wrong with me, do what you got to do. Look into it. I'm not worried. So hopefully you go ahead and do whatever you need to do on that, so we don't play this out unnecessarily, unless it's literally just to play it out. And then we can all move on to something that's really needs to be dealt with or taken care of, whatever the case that might be. I also, let me take a moment to say this. I want to say thank you to Clue and Cletus for two things. A, Clue did 2 lives, got down and dirty and raw. Okay. I get it. Then she did another one. She said some even more raw shit. Okay. I get it. But I did call Cletus a liar. She's pretty protective of her man. Just because we're friends doesn't mean that she's got to be cool with something she feels is direct disrespect. I also want to point out that not only was I on new medicine, but Miss Clue over there was having to do some double foam cupping because she was sick. So she was already on a edge level, no filter. I take that into consideration. And on top of that, I put them in a fucked up situation. Not only did I put them in a fucked up situation, because everybody knows they were on the phone with me with a lot of calls, or most, you know what I mean. It puts them in a fucked up situation. And I shouldn't have done that. Like I said, man, what is life if you don't make mistakes and learn from them? I'm not going to sit and fucking wallow in it. But for them to go up and just simply say, hey, you know, I don't agree with what happened, blah, 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 but maybe you should look at some different things. Maybe you should, you know, and it did sound like he changed his tone for that time. Man, maybe I just rubbed the dude the wrong way, or maybe, I don't know, he's really interested in it. But either way, I'm not. When we get back to the Kepler now, sorry, I went down a side street. That shit has been hell to fucking come off of. I thought fucking like opiates sucked coming off of. Jesus Christ. And having to function at the same time. Once again, no excuse, take full responsibility. But as I've started clearing my body of it, especially the last 2 days, man, some things have become very clear to me. And one of those things is I was not acting within my normal common sense. I was acting very irrational on a very serious topic. And even though I didn't lie, it probably could have been best not to have been brought on the internet, which I had already said for 2 years. You know, I think there gets to a point where, for me, you mix that with everything I was hearing from the doctors, not an excuse, just giving some representation. I was just in a fucking bad place, and a lot of medicine going through me, and interacting bad, and all the rest. You know, Cletus has been a good dude. You're not going to hear me say shit about Cletus. Clue, she's alright, I guess. But at the end of the day, I don't think I would have ever gotten to the point matter of fact, I know I would have never gotten to the point that I got to. Doesn't take it away, doesn't change it. Doesn't change the truth of it. But I kind of like to let it rest. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the other night in here. I said Clue didn't have the balls to think I meant for Cletus not saying anything. No, I meant for having a so-called friend's back. Yeah, listen, Purple Rain, here's the thing. I think that, and I don't want to speak for Clue, but, you know, I think that Clue genuinely cares for me as a human. Like I said, her and Cletus have been very close with me for almost 3 years. And like I said, I don't think I violated their trust. However, because remember I had talked to them about it, but it had been 3 weeks prior, and I had kind of just tucked it away as like, all right, I'm gonna leave it alone. But yeah, now that I'm off of that, and I'm multiple days in, like I said, it may be day 9, but I think it's 8, maybe 9. I see the point behind it. So all I can tell you is I apologize. Yes, that was a lot to put out there. I don't know what you want me to do to change it. You know, and the one thing I'm not going to do under any pressure is to put my friends into any more fucking drama over some, conversations. I'd rather sit here and tell you, okay, truth's a liar, truth's everything you want me to be. Call me whatever you want to. Yeah, that's cool. Do what you need to do. But I know what is and what isn't, and that's what matters. My friends don't deserve to be put in a fucked up position. I don't really like being at odds with my friends. Nothing that I know is anything more than Ellie knows or has been notified of. And even with all that being said, none of that proves that Chris, Katie, or Seth did anything to Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. And theories and personal opinions do not make somebody guilty. And I've always stood on that. So that's where I stand on that. You want to know specifics of this and that? Well, maybe become a fan and one day you'll catch me in another rage. I don't know. But I will say, I suggest that nobody ever allows anybody in their family to take Keppra. Period. Chris and Katie, and not that either one of y'all are going to give a fuck what I'm about to say, but genuinely I apologize for that coming out of my mouth. And that's 100% honest. Regardless of the foundation of it, the fact that I let it come out of my mouth on social media, unacceptable. And for that, I apologize. Seth, I'm not really sure what to say to you respectfully. I don't know. This isn't even the time for it, but because I want to get the fuck away from it all, but now, never mind. I'm gonna leave it alone. Anyway. I just found some things odd about those interviews. And yeah, Chris and Katie's thing was odd. Were there some inconsistencies? Yes. But not enough for me to be like, oh my God. Listen, I'm not worried about what that individual is pushing. do what you do. I don't even care to talk about the person. It's crazy that someone would put so much time and effort into a non even never mind. Yeah, I mean, I just don't care to keep regurgitating things, right? Um, yeah, I just don't know what to think about Seth. I just don't. That's not negative or positive. I just don't know what to think about him. I do. I, well, it was just okay. I'll say it the best way I can, and then we're gonna get out of this subject. Here you go, guys. Here's something for you. When Seth randomly jumped up on my panel, never speaking to the guy before, right after I had said what I said, right, the day before, why didn't he ask me anything about that? Why didn't he address that at all? And I know some people are going to say he just didn't want to give it any attention, whatever. No, that shit was weird to me. And I'm just going to state it like that. You know, Chris and Katie came out and said what they said. I'm not responsible for what they said. But, I mean, yeah, but he's in a lawsuit, but you jumped up on my panel. That's weird to me. No, we're not going into fucking all that, guys. No. I was just pointing out that to me it hit me weird. Once again, this is where how someone's perspective comes into play. Just because it hits me weird doesn't mean it would hit you weird. You know what I mean? And the fact that, I'm sorry, the explanation of the drive that, never mind. That's what I thought, Purple Rain, is that he was going to jump up there to cuss me the fuck out for what I had said. And, you know, I literally, that's what I thought he was coming up there for. I was not prepared for the way it went down. And that's the other thing. A lot of people were saying, oh, Truth was being disrespectful. No, I wasn't. I was just being blunt, and I wasn't going to listen to the bullshit that every other creator listens to when they talk to him. That's just that's not who I am. I didn't think I was disrespectful to him at all. I ended up getting pissed at the chat because the chat was being disrespectful. And y'all over here deleting messages. Y'all must be saying some wild shit. Well, listen. Then I hope there's something in there that Granny can, I don't know, man. I just know that it was all odd to me, every fucking last bit of it. And everybody keeps saying, "Oh, Truth's paranoid." Well, I mean, I just literally went through a year and a half of having to fight for everything to prove that I wasn't what they were making me out to be. Finally get a couple deep breaths from that, feeling like, all right, that's passed. And then the next thing comes up. And I know that's social media. And what's frustrating is like everything's crying and whining to everybody. Why can't it just be me having a conversation? Why can't it just be, and that's the thing. Everybody thinks that like my content on my channel is for everybody else. It's not. It's for my Rooster Squad. That's why we're going to get back to the body cam videos and shit. Right, and that's what I said too, Mandy. Nobody was talking about Sebastian. Absolutely nobody. And now everybody is. Well, I'm glad they are. And if that means that I have to take the heat for my stupidity and he gets talked about more, then hey, it wasn't a good idea and it wasn't what I should have done, but it's productive at getting his name back out and circulating again, his picture out there again. There's a little consolation in that, in my opinion, but not an excuse and not a good reason. I own it. I don't know what else you want me to say. I should never have let that come out of my mouth. And then on top of that, I should have never put Clue and Cletus in the position to have to come out and speak on it. That was fucked up on my side. I confused social media with friendship. That was a me thing. I expected them to come out and speak on what they already have because they were my friend. What I didn't take into consideration is the same way you don't mix friendship and business, I can't expect to mix friendship and social media because that's friendship and business. And she has what she does and what she works hard on. And for me to put that in jeopardy by me not being able to hold my tongue on something, that's a super level of disrespect. Especially when she got kicked off of fucking YouTube for no fucking reason. And then if I come out here and I do some fucked up shit, say some shit because I just didn't hold it in, whatever the case might be, once again, full responsibility. And I'm the reason some shit happens to her over here, that'd be real fucked up. So I understand, like, even on that level, that there's anger. That's why I said, she has the right to do the 2 or 3 or 10 shows if she wanted to. The same way as although, Cletus's song, my bromance song, that shit some of that shit hit hard. But that's because Cletus knows me on a personal level way more than this internet shit. So some of the things in there that were passive to other people were direct things that I knew. And he may not even have meant it that way, but it is what it is, right? But how many friends don't squabble? Right? It is what it is. I disrespected him by calling him a liar. I disrespected him by putting him in a position that he came out and spoke on something. And on top of that, he could have just stayed quiet, continued to go at me, and literally I'd be fucked because nobody would have believed me. So, they've done enough, and I don't, I understand it, Odin girl. I'm getting there. There's a level of, I got to show respect to that too. On a personal level, am I happy with the way it was all handled? No. But on a logical level, do I understand it? Fuck yeah. I do. So, I'm not going to sit here and take consequences, but I'm going to learn from my mistake. No, I'm not. It ain't mushy. It's just a respect thing. I see in retrospect, like I said, my body's cleaning out of a lot of that shit. It is what it is. I see it. I got common sense, man. I can see where it was fucked up. Listen, let me tell you something. When my own Rooster Squad is in other chats dogging the shit out of me, I gotta look at it. You feel what I'm saying? I gotta check myself. Now, I'm not happy with some of the shit I've seen. But on the same note, they're not happy with what I did. So what, you think I'm supposed to be mad at them because they feel a certain way because of some shit I did? It's not really on them. A lot of them people had a lot of respect for me and have held me down for a long time. They have the right to be pissed off at me. This is what it is. This ain't no fantasy land. You do shit, even if you didn't intend for it to be the way it is, it just is what it is. No, social media is a business. 808. That was the other thing. Y'all know how, my Rooster Squad will know this. Y'all know how much money I didn't make covering Sebastian? That was what was interesting about a question I heard tonight. Who's the top 5 people that made money? You didn't see Truth's name in any of them motherfucking lists. None of them. And I could have used all kinds of conversations. I've said this before. I could have been fucking making bank just by using conversations, or if I wanted to twist things. You understand what I'm saying? I could have made that money. I could have had that attention. That was not my intention. It never has been. Now, does the channel on Kick do well? Yeah. But people don't realize how much I give back to the community because they don't cover that shit. They don't watch long enough, blah, blah, blah. Right? Well, 808, you have to understand, I don't cover missing kids anymore. And I don't think that there's a problem with a channel that covers missing kids making an income. That's just not, I don't. None of that matters to me. What I'm saying is, I don't cover missing children's cases. I don't do a whole lot of covering of cases, period. Sebastian's case did it for me. I have no interest in ever covering another child's case, ever. I'm not the only person or creator that feels that way either. You know what I'm saying? But even through all this shit with Sebastian, I ain't made extra money. I've lost followers. I've lost subs. The gifting of subs has almost gone completely quiet. So it didn't help my channel at all. It didn't do me any good. But that's the consequence for not holding my mouth shut when I should have. Can't be mad at anybody. That's not an excuse, Crazy and Wicked, but I didn't know the ins and outs. And I do think that there were times that people took advantage of that, but that's my own fault because I allowed myself to get, once again, my responsibility. But I do want y'all to follow those channels. I do want you to support those channels. I'm sure there's going to become a time when they realize I'm not the boogeyman. There are a lot of people that are haters, and a lot of people say a lot of shit. And some people are just, they feel the way they feel. I'm not mad at them. Like I said, I was acting way out of character for those days. And I can only keep doing what I do and not let that shit happen again. But I'll tell you this, because I think something's funny. I'll tell you what. I'll take you up on your lie detector tests. Sure will. Sure will. You set it up and you pay for it, okay? You let me know where I need to go. I'll go do it. Questions can only be about what I've said on social media. That's it. You pay for it, you set it up, you got a deal. Give me that lie detector test. With all honesty, when you said it, right, that shit caught me way off guard. It's not I'm worried about the answers. I was just wondering why the fuck some random guy asked me to take a fucking lie detector test, right? But if you want to set it up, you want to pay for it, let's get it done. And then when the answers come out that I'm telling the truth, then what? That's my question to you. Then what? I'm not kidding. I understand that, Mandy. I understand people still don't care or still won't care. But my point is, it was made to appear like I was scared to answer them. No, it was just taken off guard. But if you want to set it up, why wouldn't I do that? For what? Lie about what? Come on. I'm saying it right now, and I'm not trying to be a badass. I'm just saying, bro, I don't think anything else needs to come out onto social media. Simple. But I'm not a liar. You need emotions to lower? Whose emotions are high right now? Oh, yours? Oh, okay. Take a relaxer. Take a 5-minute. I'm chill. Listen, I'm not mad at like I said, I'm not mad at these dudes. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad at them. You looking for answers, cool. But are you looking for the drama answers, or are you looking for the answers about Sebastian? Because I think that's massively different. And we can just be upfront with what you're looking for. Because I want Sebastian found. I wonder how many other people you could offer that to, and they would take it. Maybe you get a discount on them. And I'm not being funny. This is benefiting me zero. And I'm still standing my ground. Unfortunately, I'm having to still stand my ground. .808. Anyway. I think most of it, you know what I'm saying? I think they know how to push the right buttons. I get it. I see it. Like I said, I'm not mad at them. Jones has been covering me for 1.5 years and still looks like a fucking fool. Her entire page is nothing but elevated truth. Oh, we are crazy and wicked. We're moving on. Like I said, y'all want to cover the channel? Cool. Cover the giveaways. Y'all come over here during the giveaways. I'm not fucked up with it. As soon as y'all hear I'm doing a giveaway, y'all are watching it, sniping it, whatever. Bring y'all's asses over, getting the giveaways. I'm not mad at you. You don't even have to follow the channel. Well, technically, I guess you do to get the giveaways, but my Rooster Squad's fine. I don't need a bunch of new people. I'm just so tired of my name being lied on. So fucking tired of it. So, like, you think I'm... I don't know. Yeah, I get that, Crazy and Wicked. I'm not really interested in going back and forth. I mean, at the end of the day, when I get back into the studio, we're getting back to our morning shows, our evening shows. We won't be doing the late night ones because I got to get back on a good sleeping schedule. So I love the late night streams, but morning shows are going to be really, really important. I'm going to need y'all support in the morning shows for sure, at least to set us up to finish a goal in the night shows. You know, I don't watch any of them, man. There's 20 new channels popped up that just do nothing but clips of mine. They're going to be real fucking pissed if I ever decide to go on like just a striking spree. But whatever. Oh, I know. Odin's dying nights. What's up, Ismac? Yeah, your schedule's fucked. Yeah, I can't do it anymore. I love the late night streams with y'all, but it's just getting hard on my body. Good to see you, Ismac. Ismac, I'm slightly disappointed in you, but I'll get over it. I still love you. Let's see. It's okay. Ice me out. I'm begging you to ice me out. There's nothing that would make me any happier than for y'all to ice me out. You're in such pain right now. Well, I hope you get some relief. Thank you, Sweet Jones. No, you're good. Just, I see everything. And like I said, I don't expect anything less than people being disappointed in me. So it's okay. I get it. That's what I was trying to get across tonight, but I don't know. I didn't feel like anything I was saying was really getting anywhere. But when I say I'm disappointed, I'm not disappointed in people being disappointed in me. I'm disappointed in certain people, and this isn't Ismac, but I'm disappointed in certain people saying some of the things that they said. You can be disappointed in me, but you don't have to be so personal. You know, and people say, oh, you're just being a baby. Okay, I'm human. It is what it is. And, but we're still going to support Ismac. And to be honest with you, the other thing, I did say that I was going to forward everybody to his show. It was not on purpose that I didn't. I literally did not even think about it. So it wasn't on purpose. If he's still live right now, I can't fucking forward y'all. The next time I'm on and any of them are live, I'll forward y'all to him. Y'all know me. I'm all about supporting new people. So he was off on the time he finished. I don't know what that means, but y'all might be talking to each other. Listen, I need to get off here. Yeah, some of the digs are way too much. It's cool. Like I said, I disappointed people, but there's some people I've been really, really good to that. You know what I realized, man? And this is probably another good lesson that I've learned through this. I think sometimes I get this thought that, you know, you help somebody and you don't expect them to be good people or whatever, but sometimes you have to remember that people can still not like you even if you help them, or you can do something that they just don't fuck with. So you can't really hold other people responsible for that either all the fucking time. You know what I mean? Maybe that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But I do know that the Rooster Squad has held me down, and I appreciate them greatly. And we're going to keep doing what we're doing. And if anybody was wondering, Jesus loves you. Sorry, I got that for the wife because she's Catholic and, well, you know. Yeah, don't be mad at Clue and Cletus. I know some of y'all are sour about how all that went. If I'm not sour about it, y'all don't need to be sour about it either. You know what I'm saying? Just what it is. Sometimes you gotta let it go. Right? I'm just as much at fault, if not more. So I gotta take responsibility for that too. Word? Cool. All right, guys. I'm going to jump off here. I appreciate it. Thank y'all very much for hanging out tonight. I hope to see y'all again. Maybe in the morning, maybe in the evening. But I will see y'all. Thank y'all for the support and good night.